Hey everybody, Johnny Cage here, welcoming you back to another game review. This time we're taking a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, developed by Konami and published by Ultra Games, released June 1989 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. In Ninja Turtles, you'll play as everyone's favorite group of fearsome fighting teens, playing across 6 different stages, attempting to rescue April O'Neil and later Master Splinter from the hand of the Foot Clan before a final showdown with the Vile Shredder. Powering up the game gives us a quick bio of each turtle featuring their weapon of choice, before hitting start and being dropped onto the streets of New York with little in the way of explanation on what your goal actually is. Fortunately, at any point you can press the start button, opening up the game's menu, providing you with a short message of your current task, as well as a somewhat confusing map and a choice of which turtle you want to play as if they haven't been captured already, of course. Here you can also see how much health your turtles have and a sub-weapon if equipped. Each turtle has their own attack animation, with Leo and Don having the longer range weapons, making them the favorites of the game, and turtles you're probably going to most want to try to keep alive, although every turtle does have increased attack damage when they're at half-life or less, so playing dangerously does have a perk to it. Making our way through the first level sewers, we'll see a run into some of the standard enemies from the TV show, such as Foot Clan members and Mousers before your confrontation with Bebop, though the enemy list does get a little on the weird side as you progress further, featuring guys with chainsaws, spider-legged eyeballs, and a dude on fire, amongst other curiosities. Definitely a head-scratching decision on the part of the designers, as they seem to have full reign on the Turtles license and cast of characters, but seem to go with sprites that may have been left on the cutting room floor of other games. A strange choice, but at least a memorable one. Making our way towards the end of the first level, we'll have you eventually running into Rocksteady, and after a pretty easy fight and rescuing April, you'll be on your way to the game's most infamous level, the Dam. After its pretty standard action platforming section, you're on your way to an area that has often been cited as one of the most difficult portions of any NES game ever. Our mission here is to disarm 8 time bombs meant to blow up the dam and get the job done in a meager 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And I'm here to tell you that this part, while not trivial, isn't as tough as lots of people make it out to be. First and foremost, you should try your best not to worry about the clock, as it's really just there to put you on edge, and you should be able to complete this with plenty of time left to spare. Secondly, I've seen a lot of people get to this level's final bomb, which is in a dead end, and then being confused when they don't actually complete the stage. Generally, the reason for that is people not knowing towards the beginning of the level you need to go up here and disarm this bomb that's slightly off the beaten path. Be sure to switch out your turtles as needed when they get low on health, and you should be able to make it through the level without getting a game over. It really isn't that bad. Well, except for this part. I have no idea how to get through here without taking a hit. And while the dam itself isn't as bad as its reputation suggests, the game as a whole is a rather tough one, with the next section seeing you driving around in the turtle van, which is a nice change of pace, but needing to find missiles to break down various barricades spread throughout the level. Now this is where, in my opinion, the game really starts to get frustrating, as not only is the map on the start menu not especially useful, but there are plenty of buildings you can enter that only lead to dead ends, rewarding you with nothing more than your turtles getting battered for their efforts. But if you can manage to make it to your destination here, you will be treated to a full pizza, which will restore a turtle's health to full. Just make sure not to get knocked into the water here, because despite these being turtles, they're not of the swimming variety. The game also asks you to forget the events of the previous level. However, sometimes the pizza will be a little too late, and unfortunately, one or more of your turtles may end up biting the dust. But luckily, you can rescue them and add them back to your roster, that is, of course, if you can find them. And should you completely game over, you do get 3 continues to try again if you so desire. Proceeding through the airbase next, we'll continue to test your platforming abilities with instant death fire pits and a healthy dose of spikes, as well as this pizza that just teases you to try to get it despite there being no way to reach it in time. All this leading up to a fight against a giant Mouser, which is easy enough, but as a pro tip, you can pause the game while its mouth is closing to continue hitting its weak point and make the battle a breeze. And if you thought navigating the overworld was tough before, well, you ain't seen nothing yet, as the next area consists of searching for the Techno Drill, which can be located in one of 3 caves, and if you get it wrong, it's up to you to try to get out the way you came in and search another hole, all while battling through some of the toughest enemies the game has to offer. Eventually, though, you will discover the Foot Clan's headquarters, which is deceptively small, but I can assure you is bigger on the inside, and after a relatively easy fight, it's on to the final area of the game. The Technodrome itself isn't all that bad, well, at least not comparatively, with the exception of a few parts, though the final hallway is a bit of a pain, especially if a bunch of rocket guys show up on screen at once. Though if you do have an extra continue and can start this area at full health for everyone, chances are you can make it to Shredder. Luckily, Shredder himself is a bit of a pushover, especially if you still have Donatello. Just stand to the right, just about here, and attack. He will take swipes at you, but won't be able to connect, though if you are a bit further to the right, he will zap you with his gun, which is an instant death. And that's all she wrote as Shredder explodes and you escape the Technodrome. We get a short epilogue as Splinter inexplicably reverts back into human form, and we all celebrate with a well-earned pizza. The controls for our hero certainly don't help with the steep difficulty on offer here, with the jumping being very floaty and having a short and big jump depending on how long you hold down the A button. Attacking, on the other hand, allows for some variety by striking enemies upwards and featuring a crouch attack. You also have 4 different sub-weapons you can equip and activate with the select button, including Shuriken, boomerangs which when caught you can retain getting the ammo for, and the ultra-powerful scroll, which can blow through any regular enemy. And if things get too intense and you happen to be in the right place at the right time, you can grab the turtle face icon to really slice and dice your foes. The graphics here are of better than average quality, as you would expect for a Konami game, especially later in the NES lifespan. As mentioned, a good chunk of the enemy designs are questionable, and I could have done with some more frames of animation, especially when it comes to the static jumping, but you could do a lot worse as well. The music in the game, though, is actually pretty good, and has a couple of tunes I have continued humming even after I turned it off. Of course, the big omission here is the cartoon's theme song, which is unfortunately missing, but would show up in later sequels. As with almost every licensed game, this one was only released once, but it was at the height of Turtle Fever, so many people bought it up, and you can pick yourself up a loose card on eBay for no more than $10 American. The game has gotten a lot of criticism over the years, most notably for its difficulty, and while I am usually quick to come to the defense of retro games, as most were specifically designed to be hard, mostly so you wouldn't be able to rent it and just beat it over a weekend, I do agree that this one goes a bit too far. It is nice that you can switch your turtles out when one becomes too injured, but it does feel like you are playing some sort of life management game once you hit the third stage, and just one little slip-up can cause you to lose a turtle and have to start from the beginning of an area, with your remaining turtles still at next to no life, which is just way too punishing. Another knock against the game is that our heroes are a team, and unfortunately this game lacks any sort of two-player option. There are, however, two other Ninja Turtle games on the NES, both of which are two-player beat-em-up affairs, a genre much more fitting for the license, and solid games in their own right. It seems to me that this design was originally supposed to be some other game, but then Konami got the green light to use the Turtles license and made some last-second changes to turn this action-adventure experience into a full-fledged TMNT game. And while it isn't terrible and can actually be somewhat fun if you're willing to put in the work, it is sadly too difficult for its own good. I'm going to go ahead and give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 5.5 Cowabungas out of 10. The game has its place amongst the hardcore retro community, but considering more than 30 years later the Turtles franchise is still going strong, you can certainly find more enjoyable video games featuring these heroes in a half-shell. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you would like to stay posted on new game reviews as I upload them, please click the subscribe button, as well as checking out the link in the description below for my Twitch channel where I stream most days. I'll talk to you all later on.